Okay, I've been asked to react to something, so that is what I am going to do. I'm a busy man, so I better get on with it. Okay, dangerous atheism revisited. Right, I didn't know it had been visited, but it's been revisited, so okay, let's have a little look. I realise there are some people who claim to be atheists who would not act in this way. Call those not really atheists. Okay, okay. So, unless you fulfill his little pigeonhole, you're not really a fucking atheist.
I've been doing this for a couple of weeks now, and I apologize to the people I kept promising over and over that I would post my explanation on why I think atheism is dangerous. Well,
dangerous.
Here's my example. Keep in mind that a religious person believes in the afterlife and therefore some type of judgment, either reward or punishment.
So
the atheist believes there's nothing, no heaven or hell, just oblivion and a void, no existence. With that, imagine the scenario.
Okay, I'm imagining your scenario.
A 7-year-old child and a 30-year-old atheist. Both are under a set of extraordinary circumstances together. They're in a plane that has no chance of landing safely from 15,000 feet. There's one parachute. Only one person can survive this crash. Now, going by the atheist's own logic, the atheist must save herself. They have only this life and nothing after. What would be the point in sacrificing themselves to save a child or anybody else? They receive no reward for saving the child. Just the same oblivion either way.
Right, okay.
Now, there are, I am sure, some atheists out there that will say, no, I will save the child and sacrifice myself. Why? I mean, preservation of the species? That's the only other logical explanation, right? Well,
okay, I don't know where this guy's going to go with this, really, because what he's saying is then, so there's a plane, a 7-year-old and an adult atheist, and that the atheists got to save themselves because there's no afterlife, there's no judgment, so you might as well. That's the logical thing to do. I kind of get that argument, but what he said at the beginning is some atheists might not think this, and if you don't think this, then you're not a real atheist. Well, that doesn't make any sense. You could still be a real atheist and make an erroneous... What he's saying is if you don't choose that as an atheist, you've made an illogical judgment. So effectively what he's suggesting then is that all atheists are logical people and make what he regards as the logical judgment. That doesn't sound much of a damning indictment on atheism, really. He's saying, well, they're the atheists who choose, the people who label themselves atheists who choose to save the child, they're not real atheists. Why? Because atheists don't do what he regards as illogical things? Well, thank you very much. That's really, really pleasant that you think all atheists are so logical. You're wrong, but thank you very much.
That's called a hive mind, and you've now lowered yourself to the level of an insect.
Okay.
The only thing telling the atheist to commit self-sacrifice...
You see, lowered yourself to the level of an insect. That's kind of speciesist, I think he is there. He's suggesting this is a Christian mentality, that we're better than everything else, that we are above the insects. Fuck the insects, yes. Not literally fuck the insects. It doesn't say that in the Bible, but we have dominion over all these things, and we're lowering themselves down to the level of an insect. Evolutionary biology doesn't say that, does it? Evolutionary biology doesn't pass any judgment on anything that is above anything else. In some ways, we're above the insects intellectually, I suppose, but in many ways, the insects have been way more successful than the mammals have been.
For the child is moral law. What keeps the true atheists from simply doing whatever they want? Well, there is no judgment after life ends, according to them. Moral law does not evolve from a primordial puddle of ooze. These laws do not have...
Moral law does not evolve from a primordial puddle of ooze. I think that's utter bullshit. I think that what he's showing is that he doesn't understand what morals are. He may as well have said our sense of smell has not evolved from a primordial ooze. That the only way that we could have a sense of smell is if it's a God-given sense of smell. We have a sense of morality. We've evolved that sense of morality, and there are very, very good... You can see there are very, very good reasons. You can clearly work out what the evolutionary pressures are that would cause us to evolve. a moral sense. So the thing is, what I don't get about this kind of argument, because you hear it all the time, is that even if he can come up with other reasons, right, even if you can add other layers to what morality could be, or why we would have a sense of morality, and of course you can do that, right, that's another explanation. That is one more explanation than is actually required. We have an explanation for why we would have a moral sense purely from evolutionary biology. It doesn't need him to add another explanation. It's like me saying, right, why am I stuck to the earth? Right, and we have an explanation. It's called gravity. But I could say, yes, there's gravity, but there's also the space goblins pushing down on the top of my head. Right, now, I'm not falsifying the space goblins and saying the space goblins aren't there. What I'm saying is they're superfluous. We have an explanation, sans space goblins. So he just ignores that kind of thing. I find that a little bit irksome, but typical.
By chance. They're given to you by a higher power, more specifically God.
Well, that's just a claim. All right, fair enough. Yeah, it's given to you by a higher power. Gandalf. You know, okay, fair enough. Whatever.
Now, sacrifice for the child is twofold for me. First, you've done the ultimate good deed in the eyes of God. You've laid down your life for another.
So hang on, there's two good things. The first one is that in the eyes of God you've done the ultimate good deed. So that's the first thing, is that you've curried favour with God. So he thinks that's a morally superior reason. The atheist, the fucking selfish atheist, the fucking selfish, self-interested atheist has took the parachute, whereas the holier-than-thou, moral, ethical Christian has given the parachute to the child so that they can curry favour with God. How is that? That isn't... Maybe the outcome to the rest of us seems much more self-sacrificing, but it actually wasn't, was it? Or certainly not in terms of that reason. Bullshit self-sacrifice, self-fucking preservation, because this cunt doesn't want to go to hell.
Second, for the child's safety, you can face eternal judgment knowing that you have, by your own will, allowed the chance for that child to live. It is for the sake of...
Do you know what as well? A damn good reason. If you want a fucking damn good reason to keep the fucking parachute and not give it to the 7-year-old is because if you're an adult, right, you're going to pull the cord properly, right, and you're going to land in the parachute. The 7-year-old probably isn't going to have a fucking clue. It's just going to go, rah, splat, right? So then you both end up dying.
Both the adult and the child, that the adult sacrifices herself in this scenario. So when it boils down to it, the true atheist cares only about...
Not that you really need a parachute anyway, because I've seen this on a cartoon with a lift plummeting to the ground. All you need to do is stay in the plane, open the door, and then just as the plane is about to hit the ground, you just step out. And that apparently works really, really well.
They only look out for themselves. They will put the safety and well-being of anyone and everyone aside to save themselves, knowing that this is it, and when they die, there is just absolutely nothing waiting.
Well, that's what he says. He says atheists just put everybody else to one side because they've no reason to help anybody. But that clearly isn't true, is it? Maybe if atheists were logical, right, that they would do that slightly more than they do. Part of the reason they don't is because morality is contractual, right? And to be regarded, to have yourself taken seriously as a credible moral agent, you have to act in the way that you want others to act, otherwise they won't take your moral proclamations credibly, will they? They'll say, well, you're saying this, but you're doing something else. So bollocks to you saying don't murder, don't steal. You're doing it, so you're not living by your own standard. So it's not actually quite as logical as it seems. Of course, when it comes to your own life being ended, then you maybe don't have quite so much to gain in respect for that. So perhaps that is a kind of moral misfiring. Maybe that is a kind of an evolutionary misfiring there, that you still adopt things which although maybe on the balance apparently count against you, but in the long run count for you because it allows you to be seen as a credible moral agent. That doesn't apply in a situation where you're just about to lose your life. I understand that. I take that on board. So maybe that is a moral misfiring as a result of evolution. So fucking what if it is? Right? That doesn't. In no ways does that discount atheism, and in no way does that say, well, if you suffer from that logical failing, then you're not a real atheist, because atheists wouldn't suffer from logical failings. This video is just total bullshit.
No judgment, no reward or punishment. Hitler and Mother Teresa have the same fate. No.
Hitler and Mother Teresa have the same fate, yeah. Just total oblivion. That is correct, you know. And if Hitler hadn't committed suicide and had just asked God to absolve him of his sins, then Hitler and Mother Teresa would have had the same fucking fate under Christianity. That is one of the reasons why Christianity has been so successful. Because one thing that you can say for most other religions is they fucking hold you accountable for your actions, for your works. Christianity doesn't. You can do what the fuck you want. As long as you honestly at the last minute show a little pang of guilt and ask Jesus to absolve you of your sins, you're no worse situation than somebody who's led a perfectly pure life but just happened to wank off in their bedroom on one Friday afternoon. And I'm saying this on a Wednesday afternoon just in case you think that this is some kind of, you know, that's what I've just been up to or something.
Just infinite and total oblivion. Keep your guard up when around these types. The militant atheist, by their own logic, doesn't care about you.
No.
Atheism is the cult of the selfish, the greedy, egocentric, and narcissistic. They claim to be caring, selfless, and they're out to help humanity. But what happens when you use their logic against them, the same way they would use that same logic against a person who believes in God? They turn out to be just like dangerous.
This is just so stupid. I mean, I could say something like, the reason why Christians are so dangerous is because if you truly accept that God created the universe, then he could create the universe again, so we can just smash everything to oblivion. Tomorrow, let's just have a nuclear war and wipe everybody out. And that is why Christians are so dangerous. But the thing is, Christians don't do that. So it'd be a really fucked up and stupid argument. When actually, if you really look at Christianity, the argument doesn't scan anyway. I've just took one simple little piece, ignored all the rest, and fashioned this argument, which is what he has done, and then pointed to a behaviour which Christians don't do and said, that's why Christians are so fucking dangerous. And that is exactly what he has done. He's pointed to one single fucking thing, which doesn't tally with everything else, and then said, so that's why atheists act in this way that atheists don't really act in, and that's why they are so dangerous. Fucking, this guy is dangerous on some kind of fucking Richter scale of fucking bullshit. He's a 9.7.
Just like the devil, they have nothing real or good to offer, and like him, they want you to be as miserable as well.
Well, I want you to be miserable. I do want you to be miserable, yes.
Because they know this.
And if there was if I was on a plane,
whether or not
and there was two parachutes, and there was me and you, pal, right? I'd throw one fucking parachute out the plane, and then fucking put the other parachute on, and fuck off.
Remember, misery loves company.
Misery loves company, yeah, well, if I had your company, I'd be thoroughly fucking miserable. Okay, well, there you go. That is my live response to that bullshit. First time of watching that, and that will be the last time of watching